what type of gravel or clay can you use in your aquaponics? This one is based on your pH. So we're going to go through and look at the pH value and how sometimes the gravel or clay can affect your pH. And if it affects your pH, that's going to cause problems for your fish and for your plants. So we need to go through and check which is the best type. So I've got a few examples to show you. I love this video. This is the second one, or you might have seen this in the first order, but there's two videos. The other video is all about surface area, so what gravel or clay to use for surface area. This one is all about what gravel or clay to use for your pH, to make sure your pH is going to stay stable. Let's get into it. I love this one. It's so exciting. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm putting videos up every couple of days, so make sure that you hit subscribe so you can get all of them. Alrighty, so the type of gravel that you use or the type of clay that you use for your aquaponic system can actually influence the pH. And if the pH increases too much, then that means you're going to end up with what's called a nutrient lockout. So that means that with the pH being high, your plants won't be able to use or access or take up any of those nutrients that are in your aquaponic system. So that's why we try to keep our pH ideally around the 7, a little bit under, a little bit over, but we don't really want it at the 7.6 because then that's when we start to hit the nutrient lockout. And some gravel will actually increase your pH. So it'll make it go above 7.6 up to 8 or more. So what we do is what's called a vinegar test. Vinegar is acidic, and if we start to see little bubbles foaming and frothing all around in the jar, then we know that that gravel is going to increase our pH and cause nutrient lockout. Okay, so I've got a few examples here that I'm going to show you, some that I'll go through. These are the most common gravels, clays, media that is used within your aquaponic system for your biological filtration. So remember, check out the video in the link to identify what's the best ones for your biological filtration in regards to surface area. Surface area is where your bacteria lives and colonizes, and without it having a good surface area, you're basically wasting time putting gravel in your system, but it needs it, otherwise the fish will die. So that's covered in the other video. Let's come over and have a look at my little experiment system over here just to show you. Sorry to interrupt. Look, to really boost your aquaponics learning, jump on over to my website for some free online training, and it's really structured and it's going to help you get a really good grasp of how this works rather than trying to pick it bits and pieces everywhere. Let's get the foundations happening, okay? So some free online training at www.theaquaponicslady.com. Jump on over and get your free training. And we will adjust the camera down just slightly so you can see. So we've got the jars, and what we've got, I'm wanting to show you a couple of things. This is expanded clay. Okay, so this is very expensive and you can often buy it second hand. It's pH neutral, so when I put vinegar in here, nothing should happen. This one is scoria. Okay, it's also known as volcanic rock in some states and some countries. Lots of surface area. It is really good media, just like the expanded clay. As I said, a lot cheaper, but it's a bitch to clean. It's really hard on your hands. You can end up cutting your hands, is another down factor. But you know, it definitely works really, really well. This is charcoal. Okay, and it's not just any type of charcoal. This is a type of horticulture charcoal, so it's not the same charcoal that you would have with your briquettes for your barbecue or anything like that. It has lots of surface area. It does float, so that causes a bit of a problem for our biofilters. And it doesn't provide much in the way of root stability, which some of the heavier clays and gravel do. But you can mix it in, and that's the thing, you can actually mix it, but you've got to give it a really good clean. So these are 3 common ones, and I'm expecting that when I put vinegar in here, there should be no bubbles. It should just be like it's water. See how they all, that's the expanded clay, and it floats until it starts to fill up with water. That's the that's the scoria rock, or volcanic rock, and this is the activated charcoal. Now there are no bubbles, so I'm just going to go through and show you. There are no bubbles rising out of that, so that's not going to affect your pH. So that's the expanded clay. This is the scoria rock, or the volcanic rock. Again, no bubbles. Good, not going to affect the pH. This is the activated charcoal. Not going to affect the pH, but it hasn't been cleaned, so it's a bit mucky in there. The other two, what I'm wanting to show you, they look very similar, but they're actually very, very different. This jar contains river rock. Please do not go and collect river rock yourself. You're going to affect the environment and the ecosystem of that river system or creek system. You go, yeah, but I'm only going to get a little bit. If everybody just goes and gets a little bit, then it's going to really impact the ecosystem and cause massive problems. So yes, you can get this at a landscaper, but this is river rock. As I said in the other video, it does not have as high a surface area as the expanded clay or the scoria rock or volcanic rock. But it is quite heavy, and it does help with the root stability. So my systems actually all have a combination of this river rock and the expanded clay. So river rock is in this jar, and this other jar is gravel from the landscape yard. Okay, pretty much looks like river rock, but it has a type of carbonate on it that's going to cause bubbles. Bubbles everywhere, bubbles happening. We want to check to make sure that we're not getting bubbles with whatever we use. So, let's have a look at the vinegar on these ones. My river rock. No bubbles. No bubbles. Looks like nice clean drinking water, but oh, strong vinegar smell. This is a type of gravel from the landscaper. Let's do it in a way that you can see. It's going to be cloudy to start off with, but it's also frizzing, and I'm hoping you can see there's bubbles, lots and lots of little tiny little bubbles in there, and that means, and I know from a lot of experience, this one is going to affect the pH. Okay, so walking around in your landscape yard with a couple of jars of vinegar, be prepared that when you pop it straight in, it's going to be cloudy. But I'm hoping you can see that there are bubbles rising. It's not as clear because it's not clean. Oh yeah, I can see them. Whereas, no bubbles, no bubbles. So go through and check, doing a vinegar test as to which media is going to work well for your aquaponics system. If you're getting little bubbles happening, that's a type of carbonate that's coming into the water, and when you're getting it from the landscape, be careful because it could be a cement mix, it could leach stuff, so you just don't know what it is. I did get this river rock, very small river rock pebbles, from the landscaper, but he kept it in a different area away from that other stuff. I gave it a good clean, and as you can see, there's been no bubbles. It's perfectly safe for your aquaponics system. It just does not have a strong surface area. So it works well, and this is where we have the opportunity of reducing our costs, because the expanded clay, which is the best one to use, is super expensive. The scoria rock or volcanic rock, much cheaper, but real bitch to clean. Like seriously, it is a bitch to clean. You can't just rinse it off with a hose. I needed to hire a cement mixer every time I've done it, and I've cleaned tons of this stuff, and I mean tons over the years. But it is heavy and it gives you good root stability. Your river rock gives good root stability, is pH neutral, it does not have good surface area like the other two. And your charcoal, I'm not a huge fan of the charcoal, I'll just be honest with you, but there's nothing wrong with it other than it needs a really good clean. But as you see, it floats. You would need, it's good surface area, but you would need to mix it in with some of the gravel and other stuff to actually keep it working really, really well. So that's how to identify what type of gravel, and what I'm wanting to show you, hopefully you can see all of the frizzy bubbles that have come along here. You might not have seen it frothing up, but it's all frothy at the top, and none of the others are frothy at the top. So that's showing you how to identify what type of clay or gravel do I need to use for my aquaponics system. These are the main options that people use. There are other things that people use, but these are the main ones. And we're talking about how it affects your pH. Alrighty, see you in the next one.